everyone. Welcome back to Vanity Fair. I'm your host, Chris Farah. I am going to talk to you personally today, just me, about 90 Day. It's the Single Life Season 5. I think it's episode 7. It's called The Art of Meddling. And every episode is an art. So, you know how at the end of all of my episodes, I say, make art? That's literally what every episode of Single Life is, says Sharp Producers. I find that funny. I think it's an inside joke just between us. But what do you guys think? Okay. I'm excited to talk to you about this episode. I thought it was really, really good. It's interesting because I'm going to start with Sophie and Pedro and then I guess Julia, God bless. There's been no Liz for the past 2 episodes of their dynamic. And I find it interesting that the producers think we don't care about what's happening with her or how she feels about the situation with the mean girls. Like, to me, you would have also had to have given us like last episode, like when Sophie and Pedro were like on their weird date or when they kissed and it looked so not romantic, not hot. I would have loved to just like have a just cutaway scene to like what's happening with Liz and Villa. And listen, Liz and Villa's kisses that we saw were hot. HOT. Liz is getting it in a hot ass way with a hot ass guy with actual chemistry right now. But we're not watching it, right? We have to watch, Sophie and Pedro's really awkward kisses. Not sexy at all. And that's what's also interesting, right? Like, Pedro is sexy and definitely Sophie's sexy, at least like by the way they look. But when you actually see them together, it's limp. It's weak. I wouldn't want that vibe. I wouldn't want like even those kisses or even like the sexual spark of them. There's nothing there. It's really awkward, weird, vain, uncomfortable. I don't know. It's so, and again, like juxtaposed with how hot Liz's situation is. I'm like, why are the producers not seeing that's the fucking watchable storyline? I don't know. But don't worry, we'll talk about it. So again, like Liz and Villa are just enjoying their lives. And then we get this weird thing where Sophie's like, yeah, it's still weird between Liz and I. So Julie and I haven't talked to her, but then I had Julia call her to be like, hey, we're going to be going for a couple of days. So just fucking have fun by yourself in this land. And that's what happened. Like, what's Liz's response? I want to see Liz get that text. Like, that's another thing. It's like, I want to see Liz get a text, like from these bitches being like, hey, we're going away. Just deal with yourself. And also, I want her to be like, great, roll over, enjoy another lava flow, and have like the best time. Because the other part of this is like, Liz is enjoying her life, right? She's not going to have to go to some, 2-hour drive to get yelled at by family members, like, which is the best part. Anyway, so for her, we love that for her and she deserves it. And that's what's called karma. And that's what's interesting. It's like when you're watching all of this, it certainly feels like Sophie and Julia are like, we are right. But as it goes on, and if you really sat in how they feel about what's happening with them, and I assume that they would have realized the universe is not on their side. Just by like what happens. If you are going to put yourself in a position to get yelled at by a bunch of people, like I think that's the universe wanting to sort of yell at you. I find it fun. Okay, so honey, Pedro's trying to make them feel good. He's like, I got you some fresh coconuts. Oh my God, yum. Need the hydration. Great for electrolytes. Then Sophie's like, I put on my most conservative outfit. It's a brown 2-piece low cut titty outfit. And in those moments, I'm like, oh, how Darcy of her. This is the most conservative thing I own. Like, the most conservative thing you own is just like a really low cut top with you. I get that she's a hot girl. So she's like, yeah, I went to a beach style town and this is all I brought. I'm always surprised though. It's like, you didn't consider though that you're going to meet your boyfriend's sister and mom, and like maybe they would be like, I don't know. If I have to assume that Sophie does not know Pedro's family and backstory, which is what she wants us to believe. She wants us to believe that she didn't even know Pedro was part of the 90-day universe, honey. She just met him online. She doesn't know about Nicole. She doesn't know about his mom. She doesn't know, is what she is wanting us to believe. Then the opposite is what I would assume. Like, I would assume that if I was going to the DR to meet like my hot boyfriend and his family, I'm going to assume that his family is a little conservative, if not religious, if not like, not wanting my titties in their face. I would try and make it like an impression where I'm like, I'm just gonna bring this one, like just scoop neck top. But no. Sophie is really imprinting a habit loop on, to me, her behavior, which is just, I manipulate the world through the way I look. So it's chiefly important that the way I look like is priority. It's just not going to be a good look, honey, when things change inevitably. And also just steals the value you might find in other things that you have, like intelligence or creativity or art. Okay. So basically, Pedro tells Sophie that his mom and his sister are savages, are really hard to deal with, are intense. And half of me is like, bad thing to tell her because she is going to be like, I don't really have to deal with them because even Pedro himself knows that they're like wild, crazy people. And that's interesting too, because when she disrespects his mom, it didn't seem to him like that was a possibility or that he would care. Because he doesn't really come with any sort of like, this is my family and I really would love you guys to get along and for them to make a good impression on you and you on them, vice versa. He sets it up as like, listen, they're wild. I won't leave you. I know you're nervous. And she starts to be like real victim-y, like, don't leave my side. I get anxious. Meanwhile, Julia's there like, hey guys, hey. Like Nicole sees Julia and they kiki. And the way that Nicole says hi to Julia is 100% one of those weird girl politic ways where you see two people, one person you hate. And if you see, okay, this is a girl politic thing. You see two girls, girl A, girl B. Now you hate girl B. So when you see girl A, you, honey, you throw it up there. You're like, person A. Oh my God. Hey, person A, you're so cute. Look at you. Hey, person A. We're getting along. We have a vibe. Me and person A are normal, fun people. Let's go over to hey, person B. Cool. You're famous. Yeah, I heard a lot about you, person B. Person A, back at you, best friend. Person B, I heard a lot about how you're making my brother suffer. Now, Sophie is right. It's not a great open. But the thing about it is, in that moment, I think Pedro's there. And I think that there's a part of me that would be like, pardon me? The one thing you know is that I make him suffer? Pedro, can you talk about that? Just because obviously, Pedro, you just got done saying you're not going to leave me and you got done telling me how harsh your sister is. So in this first moment, she's saying I made you suffer. So let's talk about it. What does she mean by that? Am I making you suffer? Because she did. And Pedro said that to his sister. And at some point, some accountability is going to be taken. Whose fault is it? And why? Because Sophie wants to be like, yeah, no pressure. I'm just here. But the truth of the matter is, if you've flown all the way to like a foreign country to meet someone's family and then be like, yeah, we're just no pressure, it's a weird vibe. It's a weird look. You have no reason to go to his sister's party. If it's like a no pressure situation, you don't meet family unless, you're into each other and want to explore that. So Sophie makes a great move, and I love this for her. And, great. Sophie can speak Spanish. And so when she speaks Spanish to Nicole and like Pedro's mom, they're into it, except for Pedro's mom, who low key later says, about Sophie. I saw a normal woman, a common woman. Common woman. Not much there. Nothing in the cabeza. Sure, she's Pedro's type. A lot in the rear, nothing upstairs. I found that interesting because, truly, of course, Sophie does unfortunately look vapid and vain. Now, whether she is or whether she's not, that's her choice to like always lead with, titties out and like never lead with like any sort of emotional maturity. But at this moment, I'm going to give her some grace because Sophie just showed up, started speaking a different language. She's not Spanish. And so there's like a part of me that's like, you shouldn't hate her yet. You shouldn't hate her quite yet. She's not been horrible to you yet. She's soft spoken for sure. She's trying in this moment. And, you know, I wouldn't say that Pedro's family isn't common either. I mean, they read common. Nothing reads more common. But it's interesting because Sophie comes from a person named Claire. Now, at this time, I don't know if Sophie forgot that we know her mom. Like, we met Claire over 2 seasons. We've been seeing Claire. Like, Claire is a white trash person, like a drug addicty kind of fucked up teeth, not a great person in the sense of like maturity, elegance, the way she talks to people, all of that. Like, I don't consider her to be top tier, upper echelon. Doesn't feel like any of these people are. But that's going to come back into play for this reason. So Sophie gets called common, which is LOL, because Nicole is and Pedro's mom are, wild banshees. And Sophie starts being like, I don't understand how Pedro's family doesn't want the best for him. I cannot imagine how they would just get in and meddle in his business. How could you do that? It's so rude to come up and talk to me and try and like break us up. And meanwhile, we're like, Rob the knob, your mom coming in and saying he's not shit. You're wanting to like have you leave with her. Your mom meddled like nobody's business. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that she was right or she was wrong, probably wrong. But Sophie, like, we're not dumb. We watched that. Are you dumb? Do you not remember that? Are you not aware that your mom is like that? When you're watching this happen, aren't you kind of like, oh, this is how Rob felt? No, not one part of you? That's crazy. Oh my God. Her not making the connection that her mom is as like intense and insane, or at least the producers made her look that way as much as this scene. I mean, 2 things. That's an Easter egg for us to get mad about, and the producers know it, or she is that daft and that dumb and that unaware. I'm not quite sure which one it is, but I want you to tell me. And do you guys get mad at that part? I was like, what? Okay, so at this point, Julia is like, who knows, drunk. And then like Julia starts to try and like sexy dance with Nicole, and then like Pedro and Sophie sexy dance, and it's not as sexy as Nicole and Julia. It's funny. They literally have more chem. And Nicole pulls Sophie aside to have a talk. And it doesn't go well because Nicole's like, what do you want with my brother? You're hot and cold and he likes you a lot. And Sophie, doesn't like Pedro and is defensive and wants control over her life and wants to be like Queen Bee. So that's one part of it. She doesn't want to give, like, let's just say, her boyfriend's sister any sort of peace that she in fact really cares about him. Like, that would have been one way to do it. Like, let's just say Nicole was like, you don't care about my brother, you make him suffer. And let's just say you didn't want that to be the case. You could have been like, Nicole, when we first got there was some miscommunication, but I really like your brother. It's why I'm here. It's why I'm meeting you. It's just sometimes hard to communicate, but I think we're getting close and I really like him and I want the best for him. Like, that's not what happens, right? It's very defensive. She's like, "You came at me hard, you're yelling at me," and then, of course, it, like, escalates really fast with 2 women just yelling at each other, and Sophie is like, "You," meaning Nicole, "and your fucking mom," meaning, obviously, Pedro Nicole's mom, and when Nicole hears that, she blacks out. She's like, "Oh, absolutely not. You're not gonna disrespect my mom, blah, bitty blue." And Sophie didn't understand at first or didn't wanna understand what she said because she's like, "I didn't disrespect your mom. I went up to her and spoke Spanish, but, like, you said your fucking mom." And it and Pedro finds out, and Pedro's pissed. I love that. I want Pedro to be pissed at her. Because I think that what are you looking for in a person? A fat ass. Okay, 1. 2, someone kind, someone who respects you, someone who wants to be with you, because those aren't her. And I love anytime anyone figures that out. Like talked about this last episode of Before the 90 Days, that I truly loved it when Lisa was like, "You know what, Daniel? Fuck you. I'm not evil. I pay for your shit." No. And of course she turns back around and she's like, "I love you so much." And that makes me upset. But I do want people to know their worth. It's why I talk about Sophie so much. She surely doesn't. And Pedro certainly has been like, "Oh, she's so hot. I like Sophie so much." And she's not giving that vibe back at all. She's giving the vibe of like, "I like male attention. You're here." Okay. So again, there's contention. He knows that she said, "You're fucking mom." I cannot wait to like actually realize what happens with that. And it's so great. And I need someone, and I guess it wouldn't be anyone here because no one knows Claire, to tell Sophie, "Your mom is worse than Pedro's mom." To me, at least Nicole and Pedro's mom have like a good relationship. Sophie says she's close to her mom, but I just don't know if that's true. Because like we know that I don't know. Mom-daughter relationships are very, very intense. But there's a reason why we haven't heard of Claire for a long time. And like for Sophie to have a whole single life right now and never talk to her mom, who we know as a character on this show, is weird to me. Think about that. Why isn't Sophie FaceTiming Claire? It's her mom. She's close to her. She just said so. She's in a foreign land. Why isn't she telling her mom about getting over Rob the knob and trying to move on and having Claire be like, "Hey, Bob, Bob, hey, dear, Bob, Bob," whatever Claire's going to say in her crazy Cockney accent. I just want to know. I feel like there's a reason why. It could be so many reasons. A, they're not close. B, Claire's not doing well. So many things. But then let's be real. I almost want Sophie to be like, "You know what, Pedro? I know what it's like to have a Bananarama's mom. I know what it's like. So you don't have to feel bad. I didn't make it easy for you. And maybe you also should like have some boundaries of talking about your, life with people if they're going to be so intense." I don't know. But here we are. So let's move on. So the next scene, honey, or the next grouping of scenes has to do with Kimbali. So again, the single life for Kimbali hasn't been that much like single lifing in the sense of like dating as it's been her sort of redemption tour for her own moral compass for her life, which is great for her. It feels like it almost feels like the franchise cares, and they should, cares about her as a human, and then facilitated this to kind of a have a story and give us this, but at the same time maybe help her have some closure in different things. But at the same time, I'm almost like, is this not a show that you should be calling like 90-day family issues or 90-day therapy talk? 90-day Yeah, like it has to be something like 90-day life work, 90-day life coaching, where we are fixing people's souls and or maybe like going back and re-examining their past mistakes. But I don't quite understand how this is like single life. So we've literally just watched her go on one shitty date and then have like a really awkward hotel encounter with some guy. Maybe the trajectory is if she can get past like these moments, like, and maybe if we're led to believe that Kimberly has been secretly carrying the burden of having children and then not being able to take care of them and then putting them up for adoption, if that has weighed on her, that I kind of want the storyline to be that she's going through this first so that she can right, like, align and right the wrongs within her soul or whatever she feels or her own moral compass, and then start dating or have the opportunity to love herself more so that when she starts dating, she can take better care of herself and make better choices, right? Like B is not a good choice. He doesn't like her. He's weird, and everyone tells her that. And from what we can decipher from the relationship that she had with Larry and Jamal's dad and their middle sister, it seemed to be not only back and forth, but he didn't respect her enough as a woman or as a lover of his. And she unfortunately also didn't love herself enough to have like boundaries, right? Because she kept going back to someone who in this episode says that when she found out that she was pregnant again the second time. Well, let's go back. So let me tell the story. So just in case you didn't know, Kimberly has 3 children, right? We know Jamal. We've been knowing that she has an older son named Larry, and this season has been talking about the fact she found Larry, or Larry found her, and they are rekindling a relationship, and that Jamal had to learn about that, and he is dealing also with the repercussions of realizing he has like a full older brother. Larry has a beautiful family, and including grandkids. I mean, everyone is like looks like catalog models. I mean, Larry's handsome, his wife is beautiful, the kid's gorgeous. You're like, oh my god. Kimberly and Jamal are gonna have a little picnic for them. They're coming down. They also Kimberly has a grandson, cute as can be. She gets to FaceTime him a lot. She's having a panic attack though because she has to come clean about not only the fact that she lied about Larry, not only about that, but that she also has another child she did this to. She feels an incredible amount of shame. And you know, if I was to be honest with you, this whole past week, because of the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives drama, has put a big emphasis to me on motherhood and the choices and opportunities and that we have as women and what happens and like what our what our options are. And society doesn't want you to do anything but be a devoted, perfect mom. Selfish, selfless, the whole situation. But some women have personality disorders, some women have mental disorders, some women every woman is in a patriarchal world where they are told certain things. People get mad at women for having abortions. People get mad at women for having kids out of wedlock. People get mad at women for giving up giving up kids for adoption. People get mad at women for having kids and not being a good mom to them. People get mad at women for having kids and abandoning them. I'm not saying you shouldn't get mad at someone, especially if you're the victim, like the kid. But to me, there's a certain kind of human understanding that at that time, Kimberly made the following choices. She didn't have an abortion for whatever reason. I don't know if it was a moral reason or she's in the army and she can't, or they didn't have them at the time, or religious. She didn't do that. Intrinsically, she felt like she couldn't give this child a good upbringing. So, what was she supposed to do at that point? Some people would be like, have the kid, have the kid. Okay. Is that good for the kid? I guess you'll never know. I guess to me, as a child from someone who, I think should not have had kids and just got stuck in that situation, I think the most important thing to do is be honest with yourself of what you're capable of and what you aren't, so that people have opportunities to get better parents, get better lives, whatever it is. And to me, Kimberly did that. It's not obviously ideal that she did it twice. I don't know what it's like to be in the army and like be pregnant and then also be in a toxic relationship and see that person around, and you think that you might die at one point, and then, one night you guys hook up again. I don't know why condoms aren't there. I mean, I don't know why she was so fertile. Whatever. But certainly watching Kimberly deal with this, you can tell how much it weighs on her. And she's being really open and honest about this on a television show with a sort of nasty fan base sometimes. So there's like a certain amount of courage and bravery that she has to do this. And I think that she's doing it to free herself. And I feel like production's allowing it to happen because they care about her. And then maybe that's not why it's like super single lifey. And that's the only reason why I'm being up like, okay, is this like on a road to her loving herself more? Because a lot of women don't love themselves. And I think that the journey to loving yourself is like a great one to start. And I think that you have to be real and open with yourself and others of like the shame you feel about things. And if you can name it and share it, I think it loses its grip on you. I know that Kimberly is getting a lot of hate online because of her choices, but I'm also assuming there are people out there that put kids up for adoption that are very thankful that someone is sharing a vulnerable story of how hard it is and how they feel about it. I think that she probably is giving a lot of women the space and like the image to grieve and relate to. Because a lot of shameful things like this, I mean, I should put shameful in quotation marks. A lot of things that women get shamed for is what I should say. We don't get to talk about a lot. Or a lot of the like really challenging, difficult, unmentionable things of womanhood, like miscarriages and all that stuff, how hard certain things aren't discussed almost in that Instagram way where it feels like everything should be perfect or not. And if it's not, you're wrong. You're bad. Everyone else is doing great. And you're the only one, honey, on an island doing poorly. And I think it can be obviously very isolating if that is what you're getting. And then the opposite is having someone share their truth and then you being like, oh shit, me too. You're not okay. All right. It's not just me, it's you and probably others. It's the kind of universal feeling of connectedness that I think is the driving force of A, my entire life, but also B, art, and probably C, theater, if not storytelling, all that stuff, right? It's the need of being like, humanity exists, and it is what connects us, the good and the bad. We're different and yet we're the same. Sorry, we're different and yet we're the same, right? The same things motivate us and the same things scare us. And you'd be surprised how similar people's stories are. So anyway, the picnic goes off without a hitch. Kimberly again is really antsy and anxious to tell Larry about the sister, and it kind of feels like Larry and his family's like, here's that, and we're like, oh wow, okay, yeah, okay, and they don't seem as shocked as maybe she thought they were going to be, but it's because I think they're still kind of figuring out who Kimberly is. So nothing's going to be super shocking yet because they don't know her. It's hard to like, they're still figuring her out. Thankfully, also, yeah, Larry just seems like an incredibly, I hope this is true, emotionally aware person who was like, I was adopted. I went on the journey of finding my birth mom. I found cousins first, and that's how I met Kimberly. And this happened at a time in my life where I already had a family and I have kids. And so I'm not searching for something as much as I am happy with the person I am and spreading my wings and like seeing what happens. He's been really loving to Kimberly, and Kimberly has a great relationship with his kids, and his wife loves Kimberly. His wife gives Kimberly like really tight ass bear hugs. And Jamal and Larry have a good relationship. So yeah, like now the journey is to find the sister, I think. I mean, maybe. This is well, I'm not quite sure when I say that because Kimberly says that her daughter had a closed adoption. She doesn't know the daughter's name. And I'm not 100% sure what happens in those situations. But they're on a whole television show. I'm assuming Kimberly's daughter lives in America. I wonder if Kimberly's daughter is somewhere looking at Jamal, looking at Larry. Again, Kimberly's daughter would have the same birth father. So all these faces might start to ring a bell to someone. I wonder if Kimberly's daughter is somewhere being like, oh my God, it's me. That's so interesting. Okay. Last and least, Gino. I mean, we don't know what to do with ourselves because for some reason, Natalie, who's like, okay, now I believe you're not shit. You literally had your ex-wife attack me. And then, like, when I gave you a second chance, you're going to meet all my friends and be like, I don't know if I really like her enough to like stop talking to weird women in my DMs. She leaves. We're like, oh, thank God. And then the next scene is that he's bought flowers from a Ralph's and going to go pick her up because why? She's come to Michigan. And then she's like, I thought about it. I thought that maybe I was being too harsh on him. And we're like, why? She's like, this time's going to be better. No, it's not. He's like, I made a mistake the minute I got on the plane and I had to call her and be like, I'm sorry. I never want to talk to anyone else. When she gets in the car, he picks her up with, she gives him the kind of kiss that you would give a person that you truly didn't want to touch, but you have to show that you like. Like, it's kind of this. Like, you get into a car and let's say you really like someone. You're like, hey, hi. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. You have to like watch me do this and you have to assume that looked really, really good, even though I sniffed in the middle of it. Okay, God bless. But she doesn't. She's like this. Hey, mwah. Great. Look at those flowers. Like, she gives a mwah sound. And it's almost as if the hitting of the mwah sound was supposed to distract us from how much she doesn't care about him. Like, if you really were dating someone and you hadn't seen them in a second and then they pick you up like in their car, you don't kiss them like you kiss like a little kid. So weird. Okay, so then they go to the riverfront and they start talking about the weather, and the weather is supposedly perfect, if not too hot. And then, like, it literally reminds me of Jasmine being like, it's so cold in Michigan. He must have been so happy that, like, he got to show off Michigan's weather as being really great. Okay, let's talk about this dress. I see this dress that Natalie is wearing during the river walk a lot. It's a tankless cotton bodycon dress that shows a little bit of high tummy and also is like a pencil skirt. It's 2 pieces. I think tell me where you get it from. I saw this dress on her and I was like, "You know what? It's not expensive, I can tell just by the fabric, maybe Amazon or something." But also B, it's a great dress to have if you are a curvy lady. Cuz it feels like to me Sophie would look great in this kind of dress. To me, if Sophie wanted to have like a more conservative outfit, put her in this kind of dress. I saw this dress yesterday A girl was wearing it at the restaurant. I almost stopped her and being like, "Where'd you get that dress?" So I'm asking you, can you please tell me where this dress is found? I think I would look good in it. I think it just like, shows off the little like small part of your like high waist, covers a multitude of sins, as my grandma would say. Comfortable. I wonder if it comes in different colors. So, after frolicking in that fountain because it's so hot in Michigan, eee, and looking off at Canada, being like, "There's Canada." Don't blame it. Just kidding. They get Coney Island hot dogs with chili. I love chili hot dogs. I just yeah, it's so funny to me to think that Gino, like, thinks that Natalie is a Coney hot dog chili girl with her, like, Gucci bag. Mm. He really wants, as Pedro's mom would say, a common woman. He needs a common woman, and I mean that he needs just, like, a salt of the earth lady that's gonna be as happy as a clam with chili hot dogs and him taking her to the thrift store every 2 weeks for, like, one new shirt. And I'm not saying that's bad. I can't do that, but you need that kind of lady to be happy with what you would want to do. But definitely Natalie isn't it. We've been knowing that. Why we think this is so fake. There's no way Natalie would come back. There's I said this. There's no way a normal woman would come back from being attacked by Jasmine. So the fact that we're now in like round 3 of this, I mean, what is this woman getting paid? This woman is like, I'm assuming getting paid thousands of dollars for this. It's just like I'm hoping this is like her 401k. I wonder what she thinks she's gonna do with the fame from this. Because the other thing about Natalie is that she's surely not projecting any sort of like content creator or artisty or any sort of like business style woman who wants to use this fame to sell something. She's kind of just like a really hot Italian-y looking woman who I guess, yeah, just, wanted some money and some fun. I would love there to be, like, someone to come out and be like, "This is her deal," on the internet because I can't wrap my mind around the choices that she makes. I like her dress. So why is she doing this? Why is she here? Why would she choose to have that cute dress on? Why would she choose to keep coming back to Gino? I cannot believe that he is fun or charming or nice, not enough to be around, and definitely not attractive. Okay. Not enough to, like, choose being single over. Okay. So then we meet Uncle Marco. Uncle Marco loves meeting Gino's family. I'm sorry, Uncle Marco loves meeting Gino's new ladies, and Uncle Marco is the only member of Gino's family that still likes Gino, except maybe one of his nephews. And, I mean, Uncle Marco looks at Natalie and is like, "Oh, you'll never do better. You'll never do better." And Uncle Marco's like, "I can tell they really like each other because when they both talk, they smile, and that never happened with the other one." I'm like, "The other one? The one that you liked?" What does Gino's family think of Jasmine now? Is there an update? Are we getting an update? Okay. What's Dana doing? Okay. So then Uncle Marco goes, "Well, do you want to have a baby with her?" Okay. Gino's like, "I've always wanted a baby." And then he's like, "Natalie, what do you think?" And then she says that's unhinged. And we're like, "Well, yeah." This is like the Angela thing. I mean, can we talk about the fact that maybe she doesn't have that many eggs left? Can we talk about the fact that it's gonna be a surrogate? Who's gonna pay for the surrogate, Uncle Marco? Do you think it's Gino? Who's gonna pay for the IVF, Uncle Marco? That's so much money. IVF and surrogacy is so much money, and Natalie is 48, 50. Gino's, whatever. I mean, what are we talking about? What's real? Okay. I Also love this part. So then she's like, I got a question for you if we're going to ask crazy ass unhinged questions. Do you think that he's still in love with Jasmine? He's like, no, but I, yeah. Do you think that Gino's in love with Jasmine? Now, I'm going to say this right now. Gino, I don't think has ever been in love with an actual female. He doesn't know what love is. He wants someone hot to suck him, suck something, toes, whatever it is, right? Like, I don't think he has the wherewithal to be in love, to have like the back and forth of caring about someone's soul that way. And certainly, I wouldn't say he was ever in love with Jasmine, maybe like in a traumatic, toxic relationship, like a trauma bond, like that kind of shitty situation. Sure. Again, not to talk about like Dakota, Taylor, Frankie, Paul, but I mean, that's not love. That's just, those are people with personality and mental disorders just processing to me. So I think it would have been great if Uncle Marco was like, "Oh, Natalie, he'll never be in love. He can't." Oh, that's Gino. No, he's not in love. He was never in love with Jasmine, so don't worry about that. He won't be in love with you, but he does think you're hot. So, whatever you want to do with that. Because for some reason, no one except for Dana will be like, "Gino, you're not shit." Like even Uncle Marco being like, "Oh, you guys gonna have a baby?" Uncle Marco's been knowing Gino. Uncle Marco knows Gino's not a well person. So it does feel like he's playing along with this too. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe like all of Gino's family knows that he's not shit. That's why all of them are like, we can't even pretend. We don't even want to be on television, like, championing this fool because people in our lives are going to be weirded out by our choices. And so instead, we're going to be real that this person isn't it. And Uncle Marco doesn't give a fuck because he's like, I don't care what people think of me. I want to be on TV. It is interesting that no one in his family has ever been able to write Gino for how submissive and beta and weird he is. He is allowed to just like think the way he does and act the way he does. And no one in his family, I guess, has been able to like get to him. This is how you should treat women. You should dress better. You should take care of yourselves better. You should look for women of certain, like age and a sort of groundedness about them because that's what you'll be with in the long run. You can't just keep saying you don't want a sugar baby and then only date sugar babies and then get mad at them and hold money over them. Like also that's the reason why he was never in love with Jasmine. Transactional relationships are transactional relationships. And I think at my core that if you choose to be in a transactional relationship, there are two things. You are at the bottom of your barrel and you don't have a lot of options. Or B, if you think that the way that you need to move in this world is only through transactional relationships, then I'm going to assume that you have like mental personality disorders and or like emotional maturity situations, that the way you view the world isn't connected to the human experience and like your actual heart. It's connected to some weird ego, like tiny little baby part of you or lizard part of you. Because it's funny. It's like you not only like rob yourself of the actual human connection of like being with someone on equal playing field where you both get to discover truths about each other and enjoy them. It's you're hot, I'm rich, whatever it is. I have to be hot and I have to be rich. The minute I find someone hotter, the minute I find someone richer, that's what it's about. And that is an incredibly empty, lonely space. And so if you choose to be in that space, what is it saying about you? Now, I'm going to say this. There are times in life when you have to do certain things, I guess, because your options are limited. So I can understand needing a couple of months of like either equal footing or whatever. But I'm talking about people who live their whole lives in transactional relationships, like a Gino. There is no love to be had for Gino in his life and anyone that's going to be with him. He doesn't operate in that world. And I think that, yeah, I think it's important to sit with. It's not a nice thing to say. Like, we get a lot of like, we had this whole, I think, upchuck of, do what you got to do or get him or go girl or all of that stuff, especially for like women, like to take advantage of men or just get what they want from men or whatnot. And it's funny. It's like you're just going to constantly reinforce the idea that men aren't shit because you only attract men that see women for being X, Y, and Z. And I think, yeah, I think that if you can, like having an open mind to people and like what they want, I think it's going to be, of course, it's better for everyone to connect to someone in a real way. And Gino isn't going to do that. And that's what brings me to Natalie. What have Natalie's past relationships been like? Is she a sugar baby? Are all her relationships sugar baby relationships? And the other thing about it is Gino possibly was a sugar daddy to someone in a different country, right? Jasmine in Panama got money from Gino sent to her, and she got to live off the money converted in Panama. But Gino, to me, can't make a Natalie in America financially happy enough to be a sugar baby. Like she has a designer purse, and that's just one. She's going to want someone to pay for things in America, and Gino doesn't like to do that. That's why it feels fake and weird. I mean, of course, and I don't know why we have to see it. I want Tyree on. Like, I want someone who actually is going through the process of being single and wanting to be with someone. Like, I really want like someone who is open and honest about their like insecurities in life and is actually trying to meet someone to share a life with. And I'm sort of obviously sick of Gino. And the only saving grace, I guess, is that we don't have to hear Jasmine. But I mean, I really wish that we didn't have to hear Gino either. I can't imagine that the producers were like, you know what, Jasmine's too toxic. Let's not ever see Jasmine again. But Gino isn't. But we want to see more Gino. Especially because they knew they had nothing to film except Natalie and Gino. It would almost make a better story if Gino had started contacting some other person from a different, land. And then that was like what was happening. Because I don't think it's easy for us to believe that Natalie is real in this scenario. I mean, it's not. Okay, I'm done talking. Thank you guys so much for listening. And at the same time, you absolutely can get more of me. I am at Chris Elfera on all your major social medias. I am at, Chris Elfera on TikTok. I am on Instagram. I am on Facebook. I have a private Facebook group, Vanity Farah. I have Patreon. I have Substack. And that is where I'm doing writing, and the Patreon goes up visuals before YouTube. But also, there's a YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment on my videos. Give me 5 stars wherever you can. And let's get to some mindful groundedness. Breathing together, trying to know ourselves, trying to feel what is real. If not also, and this is real hippy dippy, connecting to the present moment for the universe. Maybe if we take 2 breaths right now, I mean, I'm taking them now when I record them. I would like to think that as people listen to this, there might be a couple listeners listening at the exact same time, and so that your breaths are happening. But at the same time, the entire world exists, which means if you bring yourself into the present moment at any given time, odds are someone else is doing the exact same thing. And then at that point, are we not all connected in some sort of like universal energy? Are we not one, breathing together on one planet, feet grounded, experiencing time at the exact same time? Breath as one. It's kind of a beautiful thing. So until we can all be one, my loves, find yourself in your mind with ease and listen to my voice or the sound of anything else in the room to do 2 breaths. Bring yourself here and just think, I am here. I am breathing. Or put your hand on your heart and feel how safe, how calm, how easy you are in this present moment because you don't have to think about anything in the future. Just you'll do that later. Okay. 2 breaths. All right, my loves, take care of yourselves and one another. Stand up for what you believe and make art like an episode of 90 Day the Single Life. The art of making art is what it should be called. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.